Hey everyone, welcome back to Scanline City. Today I have the Famicom ASCII Stick. It's small, it's simple, in the best way possible. Fight! All right, the Famicom ASCII arcade stick, model number AS2088FC. This is the real deal when it comes to the Famicom or the NES. Not a lot of people know about this, likely because it was only released in Japan because it's actually a Famicom stick. Now, when you think about any NES or Famicom accessory, it's typically very lightweight plastic, many times feeling cheap. The ASCII is anything but that. It is solid. Basically just two pieces of metal sandwiched together and bolted. At first glance, it may look like the art is printed onto the metal, but it's not. It actually has a separate layer of laminate that is super durable. I mean, one of the most durable I have experienced, which is interesting because it's such an old stick and it seems like it's still in mint condition. Now, I can't be sure, but the buttons seem very similar to Famitsu. Now, this is a pretty old stick. I couldn't find any branding on it, any more information, but at the very least, you could fool me. These seem like Famitsu buttons and joystick. Now, they are a little different. Reason being is these are actually 24mm button, which you'll usually find is your start and select on a lot of sticks. They're smaller than the standard 30mm. And the joystick seems to be like a unique shaft, so I don't think you could replace it, nor do I think you want to, because it's great. It's a square gate, has a short throw. I mean, it's really well balanced for NES games. I played the hell out of Ninja Gaiden on this thing. I was only supposed to record 5 minutes of footage, and I ended up playing almost through the entire game, and I was like, okay, I gotta stop. This thing controlled great. I don't think I would change anything. I mean, yeah, maybe if you want different colors, like a different ball top color or a different button color, you could definitely do it, but I don't know if I would. I think it looks awesome. I really dig the layout. I mean, yeah, it's simple, it's only 2 buttons, but the position is awesome. There's something also about the simplicity of only having those 2 buttons and not just using 2 out of like an 8-button joystick. It's just more focused, I guess, when you're playing NES games, for example. Especially any game that requires you to use A and B at the same time. Man, this thing rocks. I mean, Double Dragon 2, my buddy and I actually played through the entire game recently on Supreme Master, and when you do that, you gotta have like that power knee or that high jump kick or whatever it is, you gotta have that timing freaking down. And for me, playing on this, instead of crossing your thumb over the A and B button like on a controller, which I love the NES controller, by the way, but on this, you can just 2 buttons, 2 fingers at the same time, and it works awesome. And I was like power kneeing all over the damn place. It was rad. Now, take all that with a grain of salt, because if this thing was truly the best controller, like hands down for everybody, well then every speedrunner who ever did a speed run would just use this, right? Which they don't. Most of them use the NES controller. So take it with a grain of salt, but for me personally, I think this is a really fun experience for NES games. You can see on the inside of this stick too, it's just super clean, really easy to access. I appreciate the design being really easy to work with. Now, sorry to say that this does not come with any turbo switches. The NES Advantage does. Also, the Microsoft XE1 comes with turbo switches. So if you're a big turbo guy and you want that, which totally understandable, obviously can't recommend this. But if you don't really care about that, gotta check it out. Now, I have to mention one downside to this thing, because I know I've just been like, it's great, it's great, it's great, it's great. There is one downside, and that's that because of it being so small, and it has these sharp corners, a lot of times when you play it, your palms just naturally want to sit on those corners, and it's kind of irritating. Now, if you're a larger guy like me, that kind of becomes a problem, and you're gonna have to adjust your palms in, okay? But is that a huge deal? I don't know. I adjusted to it, and to me, all the positives way outweigh that one negative. So let's back up a little bit and remember that when you get this thing stock, this is a Famicom stick. This is not an NES stick. So as you can see, Famicom joystick input. That is not gonna work in your NES. So what you have to do is get an adapter, or in my case, what I did is I actually put an MC Cthulhu in there. You could do like a retro board, but I like the MC Cthulhu. I used the Jason Customs model. And then I just wired up an NES cord, because that's the only thing I was gonna use it on. And voila, it works on my NES perfectly every time. So yes, it's a Famicom stick. It does require NES players to use an adapter or get it modded to just work with an NES, but I'm telling you right now, it is absolutely worth it. All in all, if you get this stick working for whichever system, the Famicom or the NES, you will not be disappointed. Now, if you want to ignore this and just stick with the NES controller, I don't blame you. I love that controller. You want to try something different? Premium product? The ASCII Famicom stick. It is incredibly satisfying to use. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go practice some Double Dragon, aka Demon Exploding Dragon God Kick. Let's go.